So after our last video on the chain rule, I wanted to show you what the chain rule looks like when we combine it with the product rule, because this is the situation that you're most likely to find yourself in when you have to use the product rule. So the product rule says that I want to take the derivative of this thing, maybe that's f of x, and do something with this other product over here, which maybe I'll call g of h of x, because you can see that this one is a composite function. So I'm going to apply the product rule, and then when I need to, while applying that product rule, I'm going to use the chain rule as needed. So let's take a look. I want to write something that's going to look like this. Something that looks like that. So let's take the derivative of f of x. So we're going to have 2x, and then I just multiply that by x plus 1 to the 1/2. I don't have to do anything more. Plus x squared. And now I want to take the derivative of this part here, this g of h of x, and I'm going to write it 1/2 x plus 1 to the power of negative 1/2. 1/2 minus 1 is equal to negative 1/2. And then the chain rule says I need to take the derivative of what's inside the function. And that's just x, because of course the constant is going to disappear. It's equal to 0. And I've got f prime of x. And I'm not going to try to simplify it. I don't think there's very much I could do to simplify this to make it look more palatable. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. The next one is practitioners. We often don't like to use the quotient rule just because it's a little more cumbersome and a little more awkward. Sometimes it's easier if we convert a quotient into a product. So let me show you how to do that. We've got x to the power of 4 divided by x squared plus 1. I can rewrite this as x4, x squared plus 1 to the power of negative 1. And now I've got a product. And I can apply the product rule. Of course, as I hinted at in an earlier video, I'm also going to have to use the chain rule when I take the derivative of that factor. So let's apply the product rule. I'm going to take the derivative of the numerator, so I've got 4x cubed according to the power rule, and that's going to be multiplied by this thing over here. Now I'm going to take the derivative of that product and multiply it by the other product. So I've got plus, applying the chain rule, the negative 1 comes down, and I've got x squared plus 1, negative 2 now, negative 1 minus 1, that's negative 2, multiplied by the inside, right, that's the chain rule, and this whole thing is going to be equal to big F prime x. And if I was going to simplify this, the only thing that I would really bother with is to do that. And I had a student point out to me that I made a careless error. I forgot my x to the power of 4 which should be right here.